I had to leave my home 3 times. Once when I turned 17 and finished high school. I had to go to a different city because I got into the college of my dreams. The second time was when I went to New York City in 2020 and couldn't come back home because of all the flight restrictions and lockdowns in different countries. And finally, in March of 2022, I moved to Mexico, basically uprooting my whole life and starting everything over with no family and no friends. Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, the topic I want to discuss today is going to be pretty difficult, but also incredibly important for me. Today I want to talk about moving, share my story, and give tips to those of you guys who have just moved. So let's begin with the first part of my story, when I moved as a young adult, when I finished high school and went to a different city to attend university. Okay, so first let's talk about moving as a young adult, because I feel like when you move as a college student, this is probably the funnest part of your life because you're just so excited. At least this is how I felt. Now I'm gonna be completely responsible for myself. I'll be able to do whatever I want and there is no one to tell me otherwise. Of course, you are afraid of feeling homesick, especially if you have to leave your friends behind, your family members behind, if you're very close to your family members. That's tough, and I completely understand you here. However, what helped me is what is helping my younger sister right now, because she's in college, she's a freshman in college, is going out there and meeting new people, talking to new people on campus, trying to build new connections. And fortunately, because you move to attend college, it's a lot easier. I know that a lot of college students think that it's so hard to make friends, but guys, in reality, compared to when you move to a new country as an adult, it's a lot easier actually, because you're always surrounded by young people who are also studying. So you can always come up to a random person and be like, hey, do you want to be my friend? Try to always keep in mind the reason why you moved, because you wanted to attend this college. So be responsible. This is what I see a lot of college kids do. They move to a different city, they're excited, and they forget about studying, and then they go back to their hometown. You have to have your focus in front of you, and your focus is maybe you like the city better, maybe you think the city has better job opportunities later on, so stick with it. Be responsible and study and do your homework. Okay, all of that happened when I was 17. From what you guys can understand, I had to go through a lot of different things as a 17-year-old, but then I had to embark on yet another challenge: moving abroad. Moving abroad is completely different from moving to a different city in the same country. In a new country, people will think differently. In a new country, people will behave differently. In a new country, people will most likely speak a different language. So all of those things, combined with the fact that I was thousands of miles away from home, led me to experience homesickness, and it's completely normal. When I moved to New York, however, it happened only because of COVID. Like, I wasn't actually planning on staying in New York City for 6 months. No, I was just a tourist. After that, I was like, I actually like traveling and I like living in different places all the time. So then I moved to Ukraine, where I lived for 3 months. Then I moved to Turkey, where I lived for almost 7 months. So if you have just moved abroad, or you want to move abroad, you're planning to move abroad and you want to do it with someone else, not by yourself, here is what you should expect. First of all, you should become a support system for each other. Whether you're moving with a partner, with a family member, with your whole family, you are going to be your strongest support. When you move to a different country, be ready to be just absolutely shocked, experience culture shock all the time. This is something that happened to me in New York. I remember how much I cried the first month just because it was so difficult. Everything was so different. Everyone was speaking English. What helped me there is obviously having my support system with me, close to me, but also what really helped me is trying to build new connections with new people. It was very hard though, and I have only managed to meet great people in Ukraine and Turkey. Unfortunately, in New York, it was very difficult for me because I was just so shy. Honestly, also because of COVID, it was hard to make new connections. Okay, so the conversation right now is going to be a little bit more difficult because moving abroad completely by yourself is hard. Be prepared that it's going to be challenging. I remember the first month when I came to Mexico, I felt extremely homesick. I felt super jet lagged, first of all, because of the huge time difference. I uprooted my whole life. I was completely alone. I didn't know anyone, and that is very scary. I was constantly asking myself, Veronika, did you make the right choice? Was it the right move? And to top things off, I was still a college student, so I had to go to my college manager or this person in church and talk to her and tell her that I'm sorry, but I have to move. So now all of my classes were online, but because of the time difference, I had to wake up at 3 a.m. So it was definitely not helping my jet lag at all. I felt completely out of place because usually by the time people woke up, I was already halfway done with my day. And also because I didn't speak the language at all. So even though everything seems very dark and gloomy, here are some tips that I can give you guys if you're moving abroad, because you can still do it even though it's so hard. First of all, you should always have the answer to this question ready. Why have you moved to this place? Why do you want to face all of these challenges? Because again, it's going to be challenging. What's the reasoning behind it? Every time I encountered a problem, and believe me guys, there were a lot of problems, I was like, okay, why am I here? I'm here because of this and that. Okay, I'm staying. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to stay here. When you move somewhere alone, I feel like a lot of people start relying on those other people a lot because we just feel so lost and lonely. But unfortunately, sometimes those people just can't help us. Yeah guys, I know the topic I discussed in this video is pretty difficult and will definitely stir a lot of emotions within you, especially if you have just moved or again are planning to move. I'm definitely a person who derives a lot of energy and motivation from reading. So if you're also like me and reading helps you connect with, I don't know, your mental health, live a happier and healthier life, I highly recommend this book by Kristen Hanna. It's called The Great Alone. The reason why I love this book so much is, first of all, Kristen Hanna is my favorite writer. I am a huge fan of historical fiction and she writes historical fiction books. Here's how the story goes. Ernest Albright comes back home from the Vietnam War. Right now, he's a completely different person. His mental state is completely different and his behavior is completely different as well. He tries to find a job, but all of his attempts are so unsuccessful. When he loses yet another job, he makes an impulsive decision. He decides to move all his family to Alaska. And there in Alaska, far away from all the other states, they decide to live off the grid. That's why I'm such a huge fan of this book and of Kristen Hanna's writing in general. So yeah guys, here's my story, here's how I moved 3 times, and here are all the lessons I've learned. If you want to continue watching more motivational videos on my YouTube channel, make sure to click right here. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!